We have less than 20 minutes.
We're gonna get it. Factor x squared plus bx plus c, which is review from Unit 8, and difference of two squares. I do need you guys to stop the talking. All right, go straight to factoring since we reviewed at the beginning doing the homework questions. Number 1, x squared plus 7x plus 12. And we're going backwards trying to figure out what was the original problem that foiled out to x squared plus 7x plus 12. All right. Do you guys remember how we did this? We listed the factors. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
All right. I am going to show you another way because I still have kids that are struggling. Now, this other way you do not have to do if you like the way we've always done it and you're perfectly fine with it. All right. Okay. The X method, the cross-out method, the diamond method, whatever you want to call it. All right. What we're looking for, or the X factor, that's what another teacher calls it. The X factor method. All right. What you're looking for are numbers that multiply to 12 and add up to 7. Can you guys think of some numbers that multiply to positive 12 and add up to negative 7? Yes.
4 and 3.
4 and 3. Were you going to give me the same? Oh, you have them up. Okay. So do you guys see that it is 4 and 3? Is that a yes or a no? All right. And then what are they both positive? Positive 4 times positive 3 is positive 12. And positive 4 plus positive 3 is positive 7. Yes or no? So that gives me x plus 4 and x plus 3, and we are done with the problem. Anybody like the old way better? Yes?
I like the old way.
Anybody like this way better? All right, so you do what works best for you. The old way is we would have listed factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, we would have looked for the 1 and then we would have found it and put it in. You do what works best for you. All I ask is if you're doing it this way and you get stuck, you list the factors to help you. If you're doing it this way and you get stuck, you list the factors to help you. All right, number 2. X squared minus 16x. And before I go any further, what does this last sign tell me? That these two signs are going to be the same, and the neighbor tells me they are both positive. Did that work in this case? They're both plus plus. Yes? All right, x squared for number 2, x squared minus 16x plus 64. What does the last sign tell me? They're going to be the same, and this guy tells me they're both going to be not different, but they're both going to be negative. All right, so do your x factor. The last number goes at the top, the middle number goes at the bottom, and you're looking for numbers that multiply to positive 64 and add up to negative 16. You're looking for numbers that multiply to positive 64 and add up to negative 16. What are they? A question, or were you giving me the answer? Okay, you have to speak up because this is running so I can't hear you very well. Negative 8 and negative 8. Does everybody agree? Now, do they both have to be negative in order to add up, to multiply to 64? And do they both have to add up to negative 16? Yes. Negative 8. I just got sloppy. All right, so we write it as x minus 8 times x minus 8, which is the same as what? X minus 8 quantity squared. Do you guys agree that if they're exactly the same, I can write them as quantity squared? Yes or no? Yes. All right, anybody else like this way better? Anybody feeling like, yeah, you got it, better understanding of it? Again, yes. We're going to learn, as long as the leading coefficient is 1, as long as the leading coefficient is 1, which it's been for us so far, it will work. Once the leading coefficient, let me show you, is other than 1, see how I have an ax squared, it's like 2 or 3 or 4, anything other than 1, then that method will no longer work. any coefficient other than 1. It will no longer work. All right, number 2. Did I see a hand up? No? Okay, number 2. 3. Thank you. All right. Number 3. X squared minus 25. I do not have to do the diamond method on that one or the X factor method because this is called a what? Difference of? How can I tell it's a difference of 2 squares? They're both perfect squares. There's a minus, and there's how many terms? 2.
I did the parentheses and
The parentheses?
I got x plus 5 and x plus 5.
X, be careful, not plus 5, but plus 5 and negative 5. All right, does one have to be plus and one have to be minus? Yes, because it has to multiply to negative 25. And what has to happen to the middle term since they're not here? The middle term should always cancel out, cross out. Will that happen if I get 5x and negative 5x? All right, I'm going to have you try this next one on your own. Number 4, x squared minus 36. Do your double bubble.
Got it.
You got it?
X plus 6 and x minus 6.
X plus 6 and x minus 6. Anyone else? What if you put x minus 6 and then the x plus 6? Does it matter? Does it matter if you put plus, minus, and then plus? No. All right, number 5. W squared plus 4w minus 45. All right, I'm going to let you guys try this one on your own, whether you're doing the X factor method or the traditional method. If you're doing the X factor, what goes at the top? What, 45 or negative 45? And at the bottom? All right, so I'll let you do it. You're looking for 2 numbers that multiply to negative 45 and add up to 4. Keeping in mind, if it's multiplying to a negative number, what does that mean about your 2 signs? They have to be what? Different, right? It can't have 2 positives or 2 negatives and multiply to a negative number. All right, go ahead and try it.
Would it still be X? No, it would be W.
It'll be W in the parentheses, yes. Answer?
Negative 5 and 9.
Sorry. All right. Now he said negative 5 and positive 9. Does that multiply to negative 45?
Yeah.
When I add them up, does it add up to positive 4? No, what does it add up to? Negative 5.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Right? What if, let's just pretend he made a mistake and put this positive and this negative. What would that add up to? And then if we can't have a negative 4, would we just switch the signs? All right, but he had it correctly, so we're going to put what? W minus 5 and W plus 9. What if you put the plus 9 before the minus 5? It doesn't matter as long as 5 is negative and 9 is positive. Questions? All right, 6. Y squared minus 3y minus 54.
So, what's going to be like the hardest problem of the day? Well, not the hardest, but like some step in front of
This is it. These are them. They're all the same. Like this one right here. What goes at the top? Thank you. Negative 54, which means different signs. What goes at the bottom? And what are you doing for the top? Multiplying or adding? And the bottom? Adding. All right. If you don't do this way, you're listing your factors and going from there. Go ahead and work it out. They have to be different signs because this one's negative. So it's like the one you told me earlier, like this one over here. You have it?
9 and 6.
Okay. Give me with the signs, like which one's positive, which one's negative. Negative 9, negative 5, I didn't hear you. Negative 9?
And positive 6.
And positive 6. Does that multiply to negative 54? And is negative 9 plus 6 negative 3? All right, are any of you guys still doing it our old traditional way where you just list the factors and find the ones that work? All right, you do what works best for you. Okay, how do I write this? Y minus 9 and then y plus 6, and we are done. Questions? None? All right, number 7. Ooh, this is a tricky one. K to the third minus 10k squared plus 25k. All right, how is this one a little different?
Because it has the square, I'm not the square,
The cube. Now, can we do this whole, this is called trinomial factoring. Can we do this trinomial factoring when there's an x cubed there? We cannot. Does anybody know what we have to do first? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a G. G.
Common denominator.
Greatest common
Factor.
factor. What is the greatest common factor? Is there a number that goes into 1, 10, and 25 other than 1? Nothing, but there's no 5 up here. Do you see that? So is there a constant coming out?
No.
There is not, but is there a variable coming out?
Yes.
What variable do I take out? Just k, because that's the smallest exponent. Do you see it? If I factor out a k, what am I left with? K times what is k to the third? K second minus, good job. K times what is negative 10k squared? Minus 10k, and k1 and k1 make the k squared. And then plus what?
25.
All right, I'm going to cover the k. Now that in there, can you factor? Using your x factor method. What number goes at the top? 25
25.
in the bottom.
Negative 10.
And you're doing what to the top? Multiplying or adding? And the bottom you are adding. Two numbers that multiply to positive 25, which means the two signs have to be the same, and add up to negative 10.
Hey, Mr. Weiss, we got 5 minutes left.
We have time. Thank you for letting me know. You said what? Negative 5. Did anybody else get that? Negative 5 and negative 5? Yes? All right, so I have k minus 5, k minus 5. If I just put this at the answer, why would I get it wrong? What have I forgotten? The k on the outside, you are correct. I factored a k out. It's still there. It didn't disappear. Another way that you're going to see this, like if you're doing a multiple choice test, is the k minus 5 raised to what power? Because there are 2 of them here, exactly the same. This is the way you would see it if you were taking a multiple choice test. All right, ready? 25 x squared minus 16 y squared. I'm going to let you guys do that one on your own. Is it the trinomial, the z factor, or is that difference of 2 squares? Is it difference of 2 squares?
Yeah.
It is. They're all perfect squares. There's a minus sign. There's 2 terms.
What?
All right. Do you have an answer for me? Okay, what times what, or what's the square root of 25x squared?
5x.
So 5x, and over here is going to be a 5x. What's the square root of 16y squared? 4y and 4y. And what are my signs when it's difference of 2 squares? Plus and minus, or minus and plus. Any questions? None? Can I turn it off?